Her body was sitting at 75% corruption. One wrong move and he'd mutate into a monster himself. Originally, Lin was just a mid-tier student getting clowned by everyone. He ended up absorbing the energy straight from a fallen veteran. And just like that, everything changed. A cracked system booted up out of nowhere, dropping the exact formula needed to save his sister's life. The only catch was the ingredient hiding deep inside a militarized zone. With absolute stealth, he invaded the shadows without making a sound. Sadly, he accidentally woke up the worst nightmare sleeping in that place. No one saw that coming. A colossal beast opened its eyes, ready to body him out of existence. Get ready because this is about to be the wildest fight you've ever watched. So smash that like button right now and subscribe to catch all the action. At Xingting Academy, the place is packed with rich kids and luxury rides, but inside the school grounds, something's going down. Our main guy, Lin Hong, is pressing some dude, telling him he's gonna regret this big time. The bully, Zhang Yang, and his lackey just laugh, mocking our boy's pathetic blood value of only 0.62 compared to Zhang's 3.5. His sidekick keeps going, saying Lin Hong only got into the academy because of his cracked sister. Stepping up with the medicine in hand, Zhang asks if this is what he wanted so badly. Flashing a smirk, he drops the vial. Screaming in panic, Lin Huang dives to catch the potion before it hits the floor. Too late, the vial shatters completely on the ground. Our boy's expression instantly shifts, giving him zero time to think. The scumbag grabs him, throwing him across the room like a sack of potatoes. Stepping on our prota, he tells him trash belongs in the dumpster. Suddenly, something catches the bully off guard. Getting his act together with a smirk, he walks away. Still on the ground, our guy groans, realizing he's got to work overtime to buy a new health vial for his sister. Boiling with anger, he swears Zhang Yang and his clown buddy are gonna pay for this. Reaching out, a hand offers to help, taking him by surprise. It's a pink-haired girl named Lin Xin, asking if he's alright. Introducing herself as a third-year senior, she really wants to know if he got hurt. Right then, his boss calls, yelling that he's late for work. Grabbing his backpack, our boy dashes off, shouting that he's on his way. Left behind, the girl watches him leave with a thoughtful look. While our prota pedals away, the narration explains that in the year 4832 of the old era, the world changed and some mysterious pollution appeared. Facing this crisis, humans started developing superpowers, becoming highly respected warriors fighting on the front lines to protect humanity. Entering the Gao Wu era, they found out not even passing away frees you from the pollution, turning people into mindless walking shadows. The only known way to fight the contamination and these monsters is burning everything down. With that, our boy reveals his after-school part-time job is actually at the crematorium. His daily task is incinerating the bodies brought back from the front lines. Gearing up for work. Hitting a button, he starts the procedure. Wearing his protective gear, our prota thinks about his sister's nutrition cabin renewal coming up, needing 200,000 before the end of the month. Reflecting on things, he notes how his sibling was super gifted, with a blood value crossing 10,000 in her second year, except on their 17th birthday. She mysteriously fell into a coma. Looking at her pod, he remembers she hasn't woken up since. Walking past the bodies of a warrior and a creature, he thinks about being born with no talent and always being protected by her. But now it's his turn to step up. Approaching a body, he calculates making 20,000 per cremation, so today's cash covers the meds and 10 more pay for the cabin. As the body slides into the fire, something sinister happens. The fallen figure starts screaming, and this bizarre black energy leaks out of it. Watching the body twist in agony, knowing if the cremation isn't handled right, they can turn into monsters. Our main guy's eyes go wide. Stunned, he wonders what the heck is going on since this has never happened before. Staring at the flames and that dark energy, he completely fails to understand what he's looking at. Right after, streams of dark energy shoot out of the incinerator, rushing straight at our boy. That weird energy leaves him frozen in place, hitting our proto dead center in the forehead. Trying to process what's happening, his whole body feels weirdly comfortable while a blue light glows around him. A massive headache strikes out of nowhere, bringing visions of a past that isn't his, filled with silhouettes of monsters and people. Inside one of those memories, a guy asks his friend, Li Yang, about his post-graduation plans, and he confidently says he's joining the military. Moving forward, the two shake hands, sealing Li Yang's destiny as a future soldier. Next, the young recruit is shown training with an instructor yelling to sweat more now to bleed less later and unlock their full potential, pushing themselves to the absolute limit. Li Yang and his squad toughen their bodies for battle. The warrior practices his strikes, showing his drive to get stronger. Years later on the battlefield, he yells to take down the beasts and protect the country as the defense line crumbles, wrapping up in a massive explosion, signaling the tragic end of that soldier. Back in the present, our boy feels this heavy pressure as a system bar starts loading in his vision. Tensing up, he has no clue what this blue interface in his mind even is. And that's where it gets crazy. A holographic notification pops up behind him, announcing the soul-devouring system has been activated. While the system talks, the demonic wolf gets up. Panicking, our proto questions what this whole soul-devouring system is about. Dripping with bloodlust, the wolf locks eyes with our boy. He is scared out of his mind. Wasting zero time, the massive wolf lunges at him. Seeing things go completely sideways, he tries blocking with his arm. Driven by the sheer force of the strike, our main guy gets slammed violently into the ground. Just then, the system shows up saying it read the warrior Li Yang's memories, offering 3 skill options to pick from. Under heavy fire, he glares at the screen and desperately yells B, picking the combat skill. Confirming the choice, the system notifies him the skill is acquired. Still on the floor, he gets instructions to use real combat to boost his new technique's proficiency. Snapping the rest of the chains on its paw, the creature gears up for another full power strike. Flexing his new skills, our boy dodges the beast's attack, which shatters the floor on impact. Landing in a perfect combat stance, he drags his hand on the ground, showing off this crazy new agility. Wrapped in blue energy, he feels power surging through him, making his vision sharp enough to predict the monster's moves. Not holding back, the four-eyed creature roars and charges him again. Narrowly sidestepping, he watches the beast wreck the spot he just stood on. Relieved, he thinks to himself, that was close. Catching himself by surprise, he realizes his body moved on its own, using the martial arts from those absorbed memories. Feeling cocky, he taunts the wolf to bring it on. Looking dead serious, he catches the monster's paw, stopping it in its tracks. Spinning around, he delivers a massive kick right to its midsection. The head packs so much punch it sends the beast flying, knocking it out cold. Staring at the downed beast, our proto wonders when he got this ridiculously strong. Piecing it together, he realizes the system gave him level 1 martial arts, boosting his physique by 10% and letting him see weak points. Looking down at his hands, he questions why this is happening, wondering if it was that blue light from earlier. Popping up again, the system says there's a body nearby ready to be devoured. Flashing an evil smirk with glowing eyes, our boy figures since the monster's right there, he might as well test the system again. First things first, he scoops the soldier's ashes into an urn and tucks them away. Paying his respects, our guy says goodbye, muttering, "Thank you, rest in peace." Stepping up to the beast's body, he remembers the powers showed up during the cremation last time. Reaching out, he touches the beast's fur just to see what happens. The second he makes contact, this massive black energy bursts from the creature and wraps around him, leaving him confused. Swallowed entirely by the dark aura, he feels the power draining into him. Covered in dark markings, a splitting headache kicks in as the energy floods his system. Screaming out loud, he gets hit with another wave of memories that aren't his. Inside these visions, he spots the creature fighting and hunting on a battlefield, devouring soldiers non-stop. The monster roars that it isn't enough and needs to eat more. Flashing to the final vision, the wolves are seen wiping out the troops. Catching his breath, he realizes he just watched that beast's entire life flash by. The system drops a prompt saying it read the creature's soul memory, offering 3 new skills to pick from. Staring blankly at the interface, connecting the dots, he figures the cremation light just booted up the system, and now he can devour and read memories from any body he touches. Feeling a bit anxious about the devour skill, our boy thinks he couldn't stomach it if he had to eat people. Going for the safer bet, he picks the claw technique he already saw in combat. Instantly, a dark red energy wraps around his arm, starting to mutate. Finishing the transformation, the system says he can toggle the claw form during a fight. Hyped up, our proto checks the skill stats, boosting attack and dealing slashing damage, thinking it's sick that he can morph his hand. Except he finds out the Soul Devour skill has a 12-hour cooldown, totally caught off guard by the limit. Determined to study his new powers, he sits down to catch a breather. Opening the menu, he spots the use and absorb options for the military technique, wondering what that second one does. Guessing a bit, he thinks absorb might mean fusing the same technique to make it stronger. Having no way to know for sure right now, he decides to test that theory later when the chance pops up. Messing around with the interface, he's shocked to find the Soul Devour skill itself has a level. Realizing the system can actually rank up, he's annoyed there are 0 notes on how to pull it off. Shifting focus, our main guy decides to handle what he can control, figuring out the interface upgrades later. Seeing how clutch the military technique was, he decides to use this time to grind its proficiency. Keeping that in mind, our boy starts practicing the moves, flashing back to the the fight against the soldier. Throwing punches, he lets his energy flow. Grinding away, he realizes the forms are getting way harder, stuff a normal student could never pull off. Thanks to inheriting Li Yang's memories, even with the difficulty, it feels like he's practiced this a million times. Wrapping up the routine, he's panting heavily. Turning around, he feels that power rushing through his veins. Feeling satisfied, he notes the military technique is way more advanced than the school's, leaving his energy and blood focused despite being tired. Hyped by the results, he hypes himself up to run it back. Suddenly, waking up in a panic in class, the teacher screams his name, calling him out for sleeping. She says with his garbage blood value he's skipping college for a construction job, while a classmate cracks up. Feeling awkward, our prota just owns up to it and apologizes. Soon after, class wraps up and the teacher bails, thinking it's a shame the kid doesn't try harder. Shaking off the sleep, he realizes he got so carried away training that he pulled an all-nighter. Checking his stats, he gets annoyed seeing proficiency only hit 11%, feeling the grind is way too slow. Guessing real combat works better for mastering it, he ponders the absorb option until a classmate starts talking trash. The lackey with the terrible haircut says, since Lin Huang will never be a warrior, he should drop out and go beg with his vegetative sister for cash. Catching our boy's death stare, the bully tenses up, wondering why his whole vibe just shifted. Stepping in to defend our guy, Lin Xin tells Zhao Lei he crossed the line, but he tells her to back off. Our boy stands up and just bounces. Watching him walk away, Lin Xin blushes, thinking he looks way more handsome and fit. Running his mouth, Zhao Lei yells that he's just a scared piece of trash acting tough so he can run away, stopping dead in his tracks. Looking back, he challenges him to a fight in the martial arts room, since he's begging for a beatdown. Zhao Lei's buddies burst out laughing, bragging about his 2.7 blood value, practically a quasi-warrior, warning our prota not to act up, setting up freestyle rules where everyone takes their own risks. Zhao Lei smirks and accepts, saying he brought this on himself. News of the fight spreads fast, and hyped students rush to the martial arts room talking about it. Squaring up, our boy faces Zhao Lei and his crew as they surround him in the middle of the room. Hype manning his bro, one friend says his blood value is way higher and he can end it in one punch. Getting into a fighting stance, he warns that with brother Zhang gone, he's gonna teach him a lesson and use our prota as a training dummy. Glaring with pure disgust, our boy calls him a show-off lackey. Triggered, the bully charges in, screaming that our guy's got some nerve. Freaking out over the sudden attack, Lin Xin and the crowd scream his name. And no one saw that coming. Our prota stops the punch with one hand. Eyes glowing, he grips the dude's fist, reminding him he already promised to make both him and Jian Yang regret everything. Panicking hard, Zhao Lei can't believe how a loser with a 0.62 blood value was overpowering him. Winding up a counter, our goat spins his body for a heavy strike, landing a clean kick right on Zhao Lei's chin. The dude screams in pain. The impact is brutal, and our boy follows through, completely breaking his defense. Launching Zhao Lei across the room, he goes flying while yelling out. Sprawled on the floor, the bully holds his busted mouth, crying about his broken teeth. Stepping closer, our guy warns him that next time he insults his sister, he'll lose way more than just a tooth. Finishing up, he casually grabs his backpack off the floor, turning his back to leave, completely ignoring the clown. Spotting a training sword nearby, the down bully gets an idea. Filled with rage, he grabs the weapon and rushes our prota, screaming at him to go down, catching the sneak attack coming from behind. Swinging the sword with everything he's got. Spinning around, our prota blocks the hit, but his arm morphs into a monstrous claw that shatters the blade. Stopping inches from Zhao Lei's face, the guy falls back, absolutely terrified. Shooting him a deadly glare, our boy asks if he still wants to keep going. The crowd goes wild, wondering how his hand turned into a claw and if he's contaminated, since that's not human, while Lin Jin thinks it's amazing. Shaking with fear, Zhao Lei just stutters, "You," unable to even look at our main guy's mutated arm. Scraping up some courage, he yells a threat, saying his brother Zhang won't let him off the hook. Cool as ice, our prota says he'll be waiting and walks out, leaving the bully on the floor. Cutting to the factory at night. Thinking to himself, our prota realizes the 12-hour cooldown on Soul Devour is up, and he can absorb new skills. Heading out for work, he wonders what rewards today will bring as some guy watches him. The dude confronts him, asking why Lin Huang didn't greet him. Complaining nonstop, he rants that kids today have zero respect, and our boy should be grateful he even has a job. Firing back in his head, our prota knows the guy only hired him out of desperation, and he's only staying for the solid pay. Bossing him around, the man tells him to get to work since a new batch of bodies just arrived and he shouldn't be slacking off. Making his way down the hall. Entering the cremation room, he spots stretchers holding the bodies of a monster and 2 soldiers. Looking over the fallen, he reflects on how the number of dead soldiers rolling in has spiked. Flashing back to the monster's memory, he remembers seeing the defense lines getting crushed. Feeling worried, our proto wonders if the border is actually in danger. Brushing it off, he figures if it were true, it'd definitely be all over the news. Either way, he knows he needs to get stronger as fast as possible. Putting his hands together respectfully, he apologizes to the soldier's body. Touching the soldier, he activates his skill and starts soaking up this dark energy flowing from the body. Taking in the energy, our boy notices the uniform matches Li Yang's and hopes to pull the same military technique to buff it up. Channeling the power, he stays highly focused during the whole process. Popping up, the system says it read soldier Wang Mu Yang's memories and drops 3 skill options, including the military technique. Without a second thought, he picks option A, connecting the dots. He realizes absorbing is a shortcut to boosting proficiency, and the results will prove his theory. Pulling up the skill stats, he sees the military technique leveled up to 2, hitting 10% progress, buffing his physique by 20% and letting him predict attacks. Getting high, he celebrates knowing that absorbing the exact same skill levels it up instantly. Smiling to himself, he figures he can max out his skills in no time like this. Except the system hits him with a cooldown notice, saying Soul Devour needs another 12 hours. Bummed out, he regrets forgetting his main skill has a timer and can't just be spammed. Deciding to finish his shift first, he plans to keep grinding his military technique mastery later. Cutting over to the frontline borders, a city is in total ruins with bodies of monsters and soldiers everywhere. 2 guys are hauling a wounded soldier on a stretcher, warning each other to be careful since the guy's spine is wrecked and his neck is almost snapped. Nearby, heavy trucks are packed to the brim with monster carcasses while cleanup crews hustle through the zone. Slapping the side of the vehicle, one of the masked workers shouts that truck number 1 is ready to roll. Headlights flashing on, the truck fires up its engine, ready to head out. Shaking as it rolls over the ruined terrain, the vehicle finally starts moving. The eye of the creature everyone thought was dead snaps open, glowing with a sinister light in the dark. Except, right in the middle of the carcass pile, one of the monsters slightly twitches. Back at school, Lin Xin gets cornered in the hallway by the bully's gang, now backed up by his older brother Zhang Yang. Looking worried, the girl stares at the leader, who warns her he's only going to say this one last time. Zhang Yang orders her to call our boy to the courtyard, promising not to beat him up if he kneels, and apologizes to Zhao Lei. Giving her this intimidating glare, he threatens that otherwise, she isn't leaving this hallway. But Lin Xin refuses, yelling that it's impossible since Zhao Lei started the fight, and our prota did nothing wrong. Covered in bandages, Zhao Lei tells his brother to stop wasting time and accuses the girl of being our boy's accomplice, claiming she laughed while he got bodied. Shocked by this, the girl tries denying the whole thing, saying it's all a lie. Out of nowhere, one of the lackeys reaches out and snatches the book right out of her hands. Holding the notebook high, he taunts her, asking if these notes were for our trash boy, while she screams at him to give it back. Grabbing her arm tightly, the bully orders her to shut up. Flipping through the pages, the lackey mocks her detailed notes, with Zhao Lei holding her back so she can't fight it. Calling it a shame, he says, no matter how hard she tries, trash will always be trash, gearing up to rip the notebook apart. Destroying the notes right in front of her, Lin Xin screams in panic for him to stop. Flashing an evil smirk, Zhao Lei taunts her, saying, now she knows what happens when you help the wrong person, stepping right on the torn notebook. Warning her that when he sees her little boyfriend, he's going to wipe the floor with him. Snapping back, she bites his finger, making the bully smack her right across the face, leaving her completely stunned by what just happened, staring down at her ruined notebook. Pushing herself up, Lin Xin gets to her feet, trying to grab the notebook back from the bald guy. Glancing back, the bully sees what's going down, grabbing her straight by the neck. Lifting the poor girl up, he tells her to just give up. Letting her go, the lackeys threaten to completely crush her, already winding up a punch. Except right as it's about to connect, our goat finally shows up. Catching the lackey's wrist, he asks if 4 guys jumping 1 girl don't feel any shame. Still on the floor, Lin Xin begs him to run, saying she's fine and doesn't want him fighting these guys. Ignoring her plea, our prota twists the guy's arm hard, making him scream in pain. Turning around, Zhang Yang faces our boy, saying he finally showed up, saving them the trouble of hunting him down. Picking up a torn piece of notes from the floor, our boy sees an encouraging message Lin Xin wrote for him. Crushing the paper in anger, he warns them he's just going to pretend they're wild dogs that ruined her book. Mocking him, Zhang Yang remarks how trash like him talks a big game, but he's nothing but hot air. Zero hesitation, our boy lands a massive punch right on the scumbag's face. Hitting dead center, the strike sends him flying back. Boiling with rage, Zhang Yang threatens to take our prota out. Wrapped in a blue aura, our boy declares he's going to pay back double the humiliation they put her through. Watching from afar, two students are stunned, wondering if our prota lost his mind trying to fight Jiang Yang after beating Zhao Lei. Still covered in bandages, the younger brother screams for the senior to absolutely body our guy without mercy. Getting up, now also covered in energy, Jiang Yang says this is interesting, not knowing our boy had so much guts, but beating him here would be too easy, proposing a public duel at the central training ground in 3 days instead. Handing over a form, Jiang Yang offers a deal. If our boy wins, he'll apologize, pay up, and promises to never bother them again. The paper is a public duel request, and the group leader keeps explaining the deal, laying down a condition if he loses. Flashing a victorious smirk, he warns that if our prota gets beat, he has to kneel in front of the whole school, admit he's trash, and drop out. Students nearby whisper that a public duel means everyone watches, realizing Zhang Yang's plan is to completely destroy our prota for acting so arrogant. Grabbing his arm, Lin Shen begs him not to accept, reminding him his sister still needs him. Other classmates try talking him out of it too, saying dropping out is no joke and the power gap is massive since Jiang Yang's chi is 35 and his isn't even 1. Wrapped in bandages, Zhao Lei provokes her boy, telling him to admit he's scared and just kneel for mercy, calling him trash acting tough. Snatching the form, our guy declares he accepts the challenge, but with one condition, demanding the entire fight be recorded and broadcasted publicly for everyone to see. Signing his name, Lin Huang, on the challenger line to lock in the duel. Right after, our prota tosses the signed form back at Jiang Yang, snatching the paper mid-air. The senior watches as our boy thinks he doesn't want people just watching this in 3 days, but forever. Giving him a determined glare, he finishes his thought, promising to show everyone who really belongs in the trash can. Back at his crematorium job, our boy knows he needs to get stronger for this upcoming fight. Walking down the hall with his co-workers, he types the password to enter the service area. Fully focused, he thinks he needs to grind his combat techniques and absorb as many new skills as possible in these 3 days, reminding himself that winning this match is non-negotiable. Then his supervisor announces the daily batch came from crematorium number 1, which isn't their usual delivery. Tensing up, our boy remembers crematorium 1 handles the most OP monster bodies. Sucking up to the boss, a co-worker says the extra demand just proves their skills, making the supervisor praise him back for having the highest chi in the group. Just a second later, that same boss turns to our guy, yelling at him to stop standing around and get to work if he still wants to get paid. Just saying he's on it. Our prota thinks about how fast this supervisor flips his mood, pushing open the door to one of the incineration rooms to start his shift. Inside, the buff coworker complains about working overtime thanks to this sudden spike in beast bodies. Suddenly, dark energy starts leaking out of one of the monster bodies. Terrified by this sinister presence filling the room, the guy has no clue what's going on. Reanimating right behind him, the purple monster makes the worker freeze in fear, taken out before he could even react, slamming the door shut. Over in incineration room 6, our boy stops his work, wondering what that noise was, swearing he just heard someone scream. Since everything goes quiet right after, he figures it was just his imagination and gets back to work. Walking into his zone, he's surprised to see the room packed strictly with alien beast bodies. Realizing he can't practice his dissection techniques, he looks on the bright side, guessing fewer soldiers died on the front lines. Except, looking closer at one of the monsters, he finds its tail color weird, wondering if it always looked like that. Up close, the beast's tail starts shifting colors, glowing with purple and blue tones. Getting intrigued, our boy realizes the creature's scales are literally changing colors. Out of nowhere, the monster comes back to life, towering over him with glowing eyes ready to strike. Failing to understand how this thing is even alive, our prota steps back, dodging out of the way like the Flash. Landing across the room, the monster spins around fast, flexing its claws. But when our boy looks again, the creature is straight up gone, leaving him confused about how it vanished. Glancing at another beast's body, it clicks this thing wasn't dead. It was disguised as decaying tissue. Realizing a highly dangerous monster infiltrated the base, using this exact trick, knowing if he does nothing, this place is going to turn into a living nightmare. Closing his eyes, he expands his senses, using his sharp perception to find the enemy's weak spot. The room is dead quiet, but our prota focuses on the tiniest vibrations around him. Eyes snapping open, he confirms to himself that he found it, grabbing a heavy tool off a nearby table. Zero hesitation, he hurls the object with everything he's got right at the creature's presence, smashing into the invisible monster, forcing it out of stealth mode. Right after, the beast charges our boy with razor-sharp claws, but before the hit connects, he activates his skill, ripping a chunk right out of the beast. Analyzing the situation, he realizes his level 2 military technique luckily helped him predict the attack path, leaving him with just a scratch. Just then, an alarm blares out ordering a full evacuation, warning about phantom beasts in multiple rooms, shocking our prota to hear there are more out there. The door starts sliding open. Approaching carefully, our boy figures it's safe to leave since he isn't sensing any energy spikes coming from out there, except when he steps out. Finding his coworker's body, our boy realizes that scream from earlier was definitely his. Staring down the dark hallway, he wonders exactly how many other beasts snuck into the base. Suddenly, he spots his supervisor and other workers running in pure panic, screaming for help with shadow monsters right on their heels. Deciding that saving lives comes first, our prota grabs his gear and gears up to attack. Hurling his weapon with full force, he lands a direct hit on one of the charging creatures. Right then, another worker yanks open a security room door, yelling for everyone to get inside fast. Running for their lives, the group scrambles toward the safe room with the monsters trailing right behind. Figuring he can't solo this many beasts at once, our boy thinks making it to the safe zone for backup is the smartest play. But just as he's about to run, the supervisor shoves him from behind, screaming at him to stay and hold off the creatures. Shooting him a look of pure disgust, the boss says trash like him is only good as bait. Knocked to the floor, our boy watches a monster approach and curses the whole group for being scumbags. Getting up fast, he realizes the beast's camouflage is so flawless that one slip in focus makes them completely invisible. Yelling from inside, the supervisor tells them to ignore the trash and shut the door, just as a monster's claw nearly reaches the gap. Going into shock, our boy screams in panic, begging them to wait just a second. Sprinting full speed toward the closing door, he begs them not to lock him out. Yelling to forget the loser, the supervisor says if he dies, it's one less burden, making our prota curse him out with pure hatred. Turning back to the door, he demands they open it right now, pounding the metal door in pure desperation, but it doesn't budge an inch. And that's where it gets good. His panic shifts into pure resolve, spinning around to face the threat head-on. Staring down all four creatures, he realizes they're coordinated and actually know how to jump him as a team. Locking in, our boy understands running isn't an option anymore, so he has to fight to survive. Flashing back to the frontline soldiers facing way worse odds, pushing past fear to fight bravely. Since he inherited their skills, our prota tells himself he can't freeze up or show any fear right now. On top of that, reminding himself his sister is waiting for him and he absolutely cannot die here. Mind totally focused, he rushes the first creature, announcing he's starting with it before throwing a heavy punch. Looking visibly surprised, the beast didn't expect such a direct counterattack. Going all out, realizing that since his military martial arts leveled up, focusing now lets him feel energy fluctuations. Letting our prota see the exact weak point of the creature, using his boosted perception, he locks onto the energy center, spotting the creature's flaw right there. No hesitation, our prota targets the weak spot, punching straight through the beast's chest with a devastating strike. Barely having a second to breathe, another beast rushes him, making him grumble about the back-to-back hits. Confident he's got this, he dodges and strikes, telling himself to just keep up the pace, launching the second creature right into the first one, sending them both crashing down hard. Seizing the moment, our boy steps on one of the downed beasts to launch himself at the next target. Catching major air, he lands a brutal punch right on the third monster's head, crushing its skull. Finishing off the third one, he lands back down, noting there are only two left, while his arm pulses with energy. Looking around, he's totally confused not seeing the remaining creatures, wondering if they just straight up vanished. Standing near one of the bodies, he figures the last two are way stronger since he can't feel any energy spikes from them. Even so, he knows for a fact these beasts are still close by and he absolutely can't drop his guard. Forcing himself to calm down, he shuts his eyes, trusting that keeping his focus will definitely open a window. Maxing out his hearing, he tries picking up any noise in the dead silent room. Right then, he catches a super faint sound from above, barely noticeable, like a low buzz. Looking up at the noise, he spots this black slime dripping straight from the ceiling. Letting out a sigh of relief, our boy finally tracks down where the last enemies were hiding. Looking dead focused, our prota announces he found it. Leaping right at it, he readies his red claw to strike the hidden creature, landing a clean hit on the monster's mouth, but right before finishing it, he catches a weird movement. Mentally redlining, he realizes something is right behind him, exactly as the final beast bursts from the shadows, getting hit before he can even turn around. Taking the full force of the attack on his left arm, our boy curses the monster for the cheap shot. Seeing his arm is basically useless, he just grits his teeth. Across the room, the final creature stares him down, winding up to pounce. Noticing it vanished again, our Prota confidently claims it isn't slipping past him this time, spotting something dripping. Sensing its presence, he looks up, confirming the monster is chilling right on the ceiling, staring back with a surprised look. The creature has no clue how it got exposed so easily. Flashing a wicked smirk, our boy reveals his master plan. He let the beast get covered in his blood just to track it. Looking at its own claws, the beast sees the bloodstains acting like a tracker. Jumping was everything he's got. Dual claws out, our Prota unleashes a brutal combo, shredding the final monster to pieces. Touching down on the floor, he digs his claws in to balance himself, surrounded by the beast's remains. Panting and completely exhausted, he tells himself he can't go down yet. Looking drained, he thinks he really needs to hurry up and get out of there, but his body gives out and he passes out, hitting the floor. Except, out of nowhere, black energy starts leaking from one of the downed monster's tails. Still knocked out, our boy manages to consume the beast's soul. Meanwhile, a soldier squad sweeps the hallway, calculating they're about 30 meters from the security room. Yelling for everyone to stay on high alert, the squad leader warns about suspected monsters up ahead. Stopping dead in his tracks, one of the masked soldiers gets completely shocked by the scene in front of him. Looking at a room packed with monster carcasses and our Prota passed out on the floor, one guy wonders if this kid actually soloed all that. Bursting out of the security room, the supervisor asks in relief if they finally arrived and if the monsters are all dead. Declaring the area secure, the squad captain orders everyone to stay combat ready, splitting teams to check survivors and sweep the room. Checking one of the creatures, the leader notices the cuts are jagged and definitely weren't made by standard weapons. Right then, a soldier checking our boy yells that he's still breathing, making the captain turn around surprised. Pointing at our boy's hand in pure panic, the supervisor screams for everyone to look. Our guy's hand is fully mutated, rocking monstrous claws and wrapped in dark energy. Aiming his gun, a soldier warns he's mutating, saying they need to take him out while he's unconscious before he goes full monster. Stopping him, the captain says to hold fire, noticing our boy's hand is actually going through another change. Freaking out, the supervisor yells for the captain to pull the trigger, claiming if the kid wakes up, they're all doomed. Keeping it to himself, the boss knows he can't let our Prota live, otherwise everyone will find out he left him for dead. Getting annoyed, the captain draws his sword and tells the supervisor to shut it, threatening to end him first if he says another word. Scanning the scene, the captain sees the evidence and the flesh under our boy's nails point to him soloing all 4 monsters. Shocked by this, a masked soldier says their whole squad would struggle against 4 creatures, yet this kid did it alone. Yelling over them, the supervisor claims the kid's vitality is only 0.68, so he had to be contaminated to pull this off, begging them to kill him to be safe. Grabbing the guy, the captain wonders if our Prota, who dropped 4 beasts with such low stats, might actually have the legendary heavenly gift. Pointing at our boy's normal hand, he explains real contamination is irreversible, so this recovery proves he's fine, questioning why the boss is acting so desperate. Stuttering hard, the man tries defending himself, claiming he was just worried about everyone's safety. Stating they really need fighters with high combat power, the captain orders his squad to take responsibility for the kid, dismissing the others. Right after, a scene cuts straight to a hospital. Waking up in a hospital bed, our boy hears footsteps coming his way. Sitting up feeling totally confused, he wonders what that sound is, and if he's actually in a hospital. Stepping in, the captain tells him to chill since he's out of danger. Our boy gives him a suspicious look and asks who he is. The guy flashes his badge, introducing himself as Chen Zhen, captain of the contamination cleanup squad. Bowing down, Chen Zhen apologizes, explaining the monster breach was their fault and they missed the rescue window. Our Prota replies it was a sudden event and nothing could be done, while Chen Zhen helps him lay back down. Getting closer, the captain says our boy did them a massive solid by taking down 4 creatures, with one being elite tier. Then he drops an invite for him to become a warrior and join his squad. Hyped up with a smile, our guy asks if he can really join them. Surprised by the hype, the captain notes most people would hesitate, asking why he's so eager. Flashing back to the crematorium, our boy remembers seeing all those brave warriors and monsters falling. He keeps going, explaining that with so many soldiers dropping, he doesn't want to just wait for his turn. Picturing his sister, our guy states he'd rather fight to protect his family. Chen Jin agrees, but warns he first needs to pass the warrior selection exam to make the team. Thinking to himself, the captain notes the kid has both strength and the drive to sacrifice for his family, making him a solid recruit. Looking down, our Prota remembers the test requires a vitality of at least 3, which he definitely lacks. But Chen Zhen hands him a paper, saying he's qualified now since it's a personal recommendation for the exam. The captain gives him a heads up that the selection exam kicks off in 1 month. After that, he tells our boy to prep well and leaves the room, shutting the door behind him. All alone, our Prota smiles at the document, figuring a warrior status bonus brings top-tier medical perks and maybe a cure for his sister. And that's where it gets crazy. A holographic screen pops up reading the elite beast's soul memory, making him realize it's from that final monster he beat, prompting him to pick a skill to train. The system offers scale defense, claw buff, or aura camo, leaving our guy hyped that yesterday's fight paid off. He pauses to think about which of the 3 options is the best pick. Breaking it down, our boy figures the scale defense is tough and blocks incoming damage. On the flip side, the claw buff would just keep stacking his attack power, which is already cracked. Lastly, he considers the aura camouflage, the skill to completely hide himself. Remembering how flawless the elite monster's stealth was without those blood drops, he smiles and locks in that choice. Tapping the screen, he selects the camouflage for his upcoming clash with Zhang Yang. The system notes the aura camo lasts based on the host's stamina, and right then, Lin Huang unleashes this blue energy, showing he can completely hide his presence to blend into the environment. The screen updates while Lin watches his own hand glowing, except he notices the stealth isn't flawless yet, realizing he needs way more practice. Then the panel displays his level 2 military martial art, buffing stamina by 20% while finding weak spots and predicting attacks half a second early. Next up are the level 1 sharp claws, adding 5% tier damage, plus level 1 presence camo, making him semi-transparent when still or blurry while moving, burning half his stamina. Since devouring souls is on cooldown, our hero decides to grind his current skills to the absolute max. Clenching his fist with confidence, he celebrates securing another trump card for next week's duel against Zhang Yang. Out in the middle of the woods, Lin Huang explains camo isn't just turning invisible, but literally becoming part of the surroundings. But our boy lands right on his shoulder, making him complain in frustration that he couldn't even fool an animal. Deciding to try again. Sitting down to meditate, he stays focused, noting he needs to control his energy as tightly as a monster. Standing up shortly after, he watches his hand slowly vanish, realizing the range and level of stealth are scaling up, so he sticks with this method. Later on, our boy stops in front of a large mirror and touches the glass to check his reflection. Right there, his hand pressing the surface turns fully transparent, completely fading from sight. Flashing an excited smile, he notices half his body is already invisible, leaving just the rest to go. Racking it up, the system chimes in that level 1 camo proficiency went up 5% while the kid keeps staring at his fading form in the mirror. Lin Huang grins with confidence, wrapped in a blue aura, celebrating that he finally pulled it off. Gripping a book tightly, he promises to show Zhang Yang who the real trash is. Over at the training arena, the crowd gossips about never seeing a public duel, betting the kid gets clowned and expelled due to his low vitality against the rival. Up in the bleachers, his friend looks worried, wondering if something happened since he skipped school lately. Meanwhile, Zhang Yang's lackey confirms the stage traps are set, guaranteeing Lin Huang won't make it out. Just then, a foot stomps the ground hard, sending out a shockwave. It's Zhang Yang stepping up full of swagger, surrounded by intense flames. Smirking arrogantly, he mocks our boy, asking where that trash Lin Huang is and if he chickened out. A woman in the crowd sighs in disappointment, saying Zhang Yang has no clue what's coming and is definitely getting bodied. Suddenly, a loud boom echoes through the venue, marking a heavy entrance. Lin Huang shows up, walking super chill with a heavy breeze swirling around him. He takes the gym stairs with confident steps, but glancing at the floor, he instantly notices the color on the stage edge looks off. Standing face to face at last, Zhang talks trash, saying he thought our guy chickened out. But Lin flashes an ironic smile, telling Zhang to start planning his kneeling apology. Rushing and furious, Zhang Yan tells Lin Huang to go straight to hell for talking all that garbage. Winding up, Zhang throws a heavy punch cutting through the air right at our boy. Dodging it with ease, our guy listens to Zhang mock him, asking how long he plans on running. Then Zhang chains a brutal combo, but Lin slips past every single hit without breaking a sweat, hyping him up from the crowd. The lackey begs Zhang to finish the kid fast to show the massive power gap. Right then, Lin Huang stomps the floor, building momentum for a bigger strike. Fists wrapped in blazing flames, Zhang warns this next hit is sending Lin right out of school, unleashing the fiery punch with everything he's got. The impact triggers a massive explosion right on top of Lin, but deep inside the fire, our boy flashes a confident grin, saying this was the exact moment he was waiting for. Phasing right through the hero's body, the villain's attack reveals it was just an illusion, leaving the bully completely stunned. Up in the stands, Lin Huang's friend drops her jaw, super impressed he was hiding such a cracked vanishing skill. Gritting his teeth in anger, the rival asks if he honestly thinks he can win with these cheap tricks. After that, he wildly punches the air, demanding the kid show himself right now. Landing an invisible strike, the hero tags Zhang clean in the back, making him yell out in pain. Clutching his busted shoulder, Zhang screams in fury, threatening to end Lin Huang. Pointing to the side, he orders his lackey to trigger the tracks to force our boy out, and the sidekick agrees instantly. Instantly, a metal grid surges in with blue lightning powers up around the stage, and out of nowhere, giant flames burst from the ground, covering the whole area. Standing in the fire, the villain looks around and mocks him, asking where Lin is gonna run now. Jumping up in a panic, the woman in the stands demands they stop this, since it completely breaks the duel rules. But the enemy flashes an evil smirk, replying that inside this ring, he is the law. Then Lin Huang suddenly appears right in front of him, pushing straight through the flames. Flashing a maniac face, the bully celebrates finally finding the kid. Jumping back, the hero dodges a devastating strike that totally wrecks the floor. Looking sharp, Lin realizes a head-on clash won't work, deciding to scout for a weak point. Charging forward, the rival comes in hot, covered in this glowing blue energy armor. Breaking down the situation, the hero sees the full-body shield and figures he needs to find the power source to cut it off. Smiling like a psycho, the enemy's chest light glows even brighter. Focusing his eyes, Lin spots the energy core sitting right on the enemy's stomach. Throwing a heavy punch, the bully only hits a faded illusion of Lin Huang. Eyes wide in shock, the villain gets super mad that he vanished again. Screaming in rage, Zhang yells that trash stays trash and only relies on dirty tricks. And no one saw that coming. Multiple shadow claws shoot straight at him. It's Lin Huang popping up and striking with a demonic arm, but the hit bounces right off the blue barrier. Seeing the impact, he's surprised the blades couldn't pierce the defense. Taunting him, Zhang brags its high-tier protection and tells the kid to give up trying to hurt him. Backing off calmly, the young guy promises he's still gonna test the limits of that armor. Lin clenches his regular fist, deciding that if cuts don't work, he'll just smash the defense with raw impact. The rival looks calm, warning that if he watches closely, he's definitely finding Lin's weak spot. Jumping high into the air, the hero winds up a massive punch from above. He drops the strike with everything he's got, but the enemy blocks it, creating a giant shockwave. Smirking arrogantly with a glowing blue arm, Zhang mocks him, asking if that's all he's got and if he forgot to eat. Backing away fast, Lin Huang puts some distance between them, but the villain notices something off, claiming he feels an energy shift. With a sharp look, he flashes an evil smirk, celebrating that he finally found the hero's opening. Charging in again, lands a direct kick right on the opponent's armor. Defending the hit effortlessly, the rival repeats its max-level protection, so striking is useless. Refusing to quit, Lin Huang crouches to build momentum and yells he's attacking one more time. Throwing a heavy punch, he hits dead center on the enemy's blue shield. The impact cracks the barrier, making the hero hyped to see it fracture, knowing it just needs a bit more to shatter. Shocked, Jiang Yang goes wide-eyed, seeing the attack almost punch through his shield. Reacting fast, he grabs the hero's arm tightly and flashes a sadistic smirk. Pulling the kid close, the villain warns his cheap tricks are useless now, telling him to just die. Locking his eyes, Lin Huang thinks he just needs to tank this predicted martial arts hit. The rival lands a heavy punch right on Lin's face, who tanks it with gritted teeth. Eyes wide open, the hero declares that the perfect moment is right now. Unleashing a dark energy blast with full force, he aims straight at the enemy's defense. The hit completely shatters the guy's blue armor, leaving him sweating cold in pure panic. Shaking it off, the villain mocks him, saying the kid only knows how to hide and sneak attack, which is why his vitality is garbage, guaranteeing a coward will never be a warrior. Standing up surrounded by a dark aura, Lin Huang promises he's done with stealth and dirty tricks. Going all out, he rushes in and declares he's ending this fight in a single strike. Acting confident, the rival smirks and asks if the kid got brain damage from the punches, since those weak claws can't even scratch his shield. Jumping up with his demonic arm ready to strike, the hero fires back, asking how he'll know if he doesn't try again. Winding up an energy-charged kick, Zhang Yang screams this final hit will get the kid kicked out of school, launching a flying kick with everything he's got to crush his opponent. Facing the attack head-on, Lin realizes the strike is deadly, celebrating that he read the move early using his military technique. In the blink of an eye, the kid punches straight into the enemy's chest, shattering the armor to pieces while asking if he seriously thought his moves were unreadable. Eyes wide in total shock, the villain feels the pain and can only stutter in fear. The impact makes the rival's blue armor crack completely and shatter into pieces amid the flames, leaving the guy stunned and sweating cold, unable to process what just happened. The shield completely explodes, launching energy shards everywhere, making Zhang scream out loud in pure pain. Dropping to his knees in the fire, Zhang Yang clutches his busted chest, screaming in denial that it's impossible to lose to trash. Looking down at the guy with his demonic arm, the hero coldly tells him this is all he amounts to. Sweating and furious, the villain can barely speak, just stuttering while locking eyes with the kid. Giving him zero attention, the hero turns his back and walks away, leaving the loser on the floor. Up in the stands, the crowd goes wild, a student shocked that the kid isn't a loser anymore, while the lackey praises his strength, and right next to him, a girl stammers in disbelief that Zhang Yang actually lost. Breathing a sigh of relief, our boy's friend smiles and celebrates, already knowing he was gonna win. Over in the VIP box, the rival's dad is furious, grumbling that his son is a disgrace for getting beat by a nobody. Tensing up, the school principal tries explaining himself, promising to investigate the kid's weird powers next week to get some answers. The old man agrees instantly, declaring that whoever breaks the rules here has to pay a heavy price. Trying to cool things down, the principal guarantees he'll deliver a solid result for the boss. Flashing a psycho look, Zhang Yang's dad mentally warns our hero that he made a fatal mistake messing with the wrong guy. Meanwhile, Lin Huang walks down the gym stairs with super chill steps. Suddenly, something vibrating in his pocket grabs his attention. It's his communicator, so he decides to check it. Reading the text, he finds out he's transferring to the max-level crematorium, flashing a hyped smile since the danger is higher, but the cash and strong souls mean sick new powers. Walking calmly, Lin Huang figures it's still early, deciding to visit his sister at the hospital. Soon enough, Lin arrives in front of the city's massive medical center. Inside, our boy stops in front of a glowing healing tank, checking on the patient. His sister is fully submerged in water, covered in bandages, and breathing through an oxygen mask. With a sad look, Lin Huang touches the glass and whispers that he finally made it. Flashing back, he remembers when some kids used to bully him, saying his energy was worse than a dog's and he'd be a useless nobody. But out of nowhere, his older sister steps in furious, kicking the bullies and screaming she'll wreck anyone who touches her little brother, making them run for their lives. Still mad, she promises no mercy for anyone talking trash about him, while he just begs her to chill out. Flashing a sweet smile, the girl hands Lin a lollipop, hyping him up as the best ever and telling him to ignore the haters. Back in the present, the young guy swears he'll find a cure since she always protected him, but a voice suddenly calls his name, saying they need to talk about the patient. Caught off guard, the hero snaps his head back instantly to see who's talking. Coming face to face with the head doctor, he tells the guy to just spill what's going on. The specialist explains the girl ate contaminated food, and the nutrition pod is only barely keeping her alive. Staring at the tank, the doctor drops the bomb that the contamination got way worse and hit her organs, meaning at this rate she only has 6 months left. Eyes wide in absolute shock, the hero asks in a panic how the timeline dropped to 6 months if the meds were controlling it. The doctor tells Lin they've relied on the meds too long, and the patient probably built up antibodies by now. Getting desperate, the kid yells, asking if there's any other way out, swearing he'll do anything to save his sister. Calmly, the specialist replies there is one way, but it's totally out of reach right now, and the young guy demands he just say it. The doc explains a sunstone can stop the contamination, except the item is a heavily guarded national treasure and insanely hard to get. He adds that even though the girl was a genius valued by the country, the government didn't help when she fell into a coma, making it nearly impossible for them to do anything now. Deep in thought, the hero finds the whole thing super sketchy since his sister was the best of her generation, and the country turning its back on her makes zero sense. But his expression shifts to pure resolve, swearing he won't quit no matter what, whether it means hunting down the stone or finding another fix. Later on, Lin Huang pulls up to this massive industrial complex acting as the region's top crematorium. He takes a chill walk until stopping in front of a heavily armored metal door marked as Room 3. Once inside, the kid decides he needs to get stronger fast to become a real warrior to snag that government treasure. Looking at bodies through a glass window, he finds the setup weird, guessing the war got worse since it's just human remains, including medics and zero monsters. Stopping in front of 3 stretchers with covered bodies, Lin puts his hands together to pay respects to the fallen vets before clocking in. And just like that, everything changed. One of the dead bodies sits right up on the stretcher, leaking this dark, sinister smoke. The beast stands up, flashing red eyes and razor teeth, charging full speed with a loud roar wrapped in evil energy. Getting a jump scare, Lin Huang steps back fast, dropping into a defensive stance to face the threat. Completely spooked, the hero's eyes go wide, asking if that corpse seriously just came back to life. Unleashing a massive roar, the creature leaps with everything it's got right at the kid. The monster's thing charges Lin hard, trying to land a hit with its dark energy claws. Throwing wild strikes again, the kid backs up quick and dodges the shadow blades. Lin braces himself just in case that thing comes swinging. Crouching down, the monster growls loud, getting completely covered in a malicious aura. Getting dead serious, the hero realizes this frontline fighter got contaminated. Feeling bad about the situation, he remembers this guy sacrificed himself for the country and fought to the bitter end. Out of nowhere, the furious corpse rushes in, sprinting straight at Lin Hong. The beast throws a heavy punch, forcing the hero to cross his arms and tank the impact. Blocking the hit, our boy notices the creature using military forms, realizing the mindless body is running purely on muscle memory. Flashing a confident smile, he figures a fixed pattern has obvious flaws, predicting the next move is a right straight that ruins the enemy's stance. Exactly as predicted, the monster drops a full power punch while the kid dodges and ducks fast. The beast's arm swings wide, tearing through the air, while the hero slides right under its guard. Taking the opening, he lands a clean kick on the opponent's leg to completely break his posture. Seeing the enemy off balance, the young guy yells, "This is it," pushing forward and shoving the creature's arm. Wrapping up the combo, he lands a heavy hit right on the monster's chest, sending the beast flying backward. Landing hard, the kid delivers a devastating floor smash, carving out a giant crater with an insane shockwave. Standing over the opponent's down body, he apologizes for the mess. But suddenly, the knocked-out monster starts cracking its bones, making bizarre noises in the rubble. A dark aura wraps around the psycho, giving it glowing red eyes and a terrifying smile. Totally spooked, Lin Hong jumps back quick, asking what kind of madness this is. The creature gets up fully mutated into this massive buff monster, letting out a furious roar. Catching this scene, the hero notes in shock that the enemy just turned into a literal beast. Wasting zero time, the beast charges and throws a heavy punch, but the kid crosses his arms to block the hit. The strike makes him slide across the floor, tensely realizing the rival's strength and speed got a massive buff. Then the freak rushes him again, claws ready to shred everything. But the kid is quick, ducking under the attack as it grazes right over him. Furious, the mutant opens a giant mouth packed with razor teeth right in the kid's face. Seizing the opening, he counters with a massive uppercut. The punch lands dead center on the attacker's chest, launching his heavy body backward with zero defense. Wrapping it up, the impact sets off an insane shockwave midair, confirming a clean hit. Wiping his mouth tensely, Lin Huang notes the enemy's look and attack pattern totally shifted into a monster. Flashing back, he remembers the original soldier screaming to kill the beasts and protect the country. With a serious face, the kid states he saw firsthand what a real warrior looks like. The beast roars while wrapped in a dark aura, and the hero admits he held back his strength because he still saw the guy as human, but now that's changed. Clenching his fist, he understands turning into this creature was never the veteran's intention. Locking in with a determined look, the hero promises to help him. The focus shifts straight to the beast's chest, revealing an exposed dark core right in the middle of its muscles. Our boy rushes in with absurd speed, calling out that the weak spot is straight in the heart. The freak attacks with giant claws, but the young guy slides underneath and dodges the lethal hit. Then the hero's arm takes on a demonic form, crackling with dark energy and razor-sharp claws. In one quick motion, he pierces the enemy's chest clean through, hitting the target perfectly. The impact makes the creature's heart explode, leaking evil smoke everywhere. Staring at the downed beast, he tells the veteran to rest in peace. Out of nowhere, a system screen pops up announcing the military martial art leveled up to intermediate stage 3. Looking back calmly, the kid admits if the guy still had human consciousness, he definitely wouldn't stand a chance. The monster's body drops to the floor, releasing this dark, sinister smoke. Right then, the creature stands back up, mutating with exposed bones and rotting flesh. Panicking, Lin's eyes go wide, screaming that it's contamination. Sprinting to the door, he tries to open it, but realizes it needs someone on both sides to unlock. Looking stressed, the kid regrets that human contamination is completely irreversible. Screaming out, he realizes if he stays there, he'll turn into a monster too. Suddenly, the system announces the mission is cleared and asks if he wants to teleport out of the crematorium. Rejecting the escape, Lin readies his weapon with a serious look, gearing up to finish what he started. With a calm, focused gaze, he completely locks in his choice to stay. Taking a deep breath, the young guy processes the insane fight while checking the system interface. Looking determined, he turns his head to check out what's left in the room. Right in the middle, the fallen veteran's body gives off this mysterious, bright blue glow. Slipping into a defensive stance out of pure reflex, Lin carefully steps toward the stretcher. Stopping right there, he stares at the lifeless body, silently paying his respects to the soldier's sacrifice. Feeling curious, the kid reaches out and touches the man's clothes to investigate. Right then, the dark energy strings from his power act on their own, draining the life essence straight from the dead man's chest. Holding the absorbed energy, the hero gets hit with a rush of unknown information. Through the energy, Lin taps into the man's memories, finding out he was actually a genius scientist and doctor. Inside the flashback, the scientist is chatting with a colleague about research right in front of a massive energy crystal. Eyes totally glowing, our hero takes in all this crazy new knowledge in pure shock. The vision zeroes in on a necklace holding a glowing gold crystal, gripped tightly in the memories. The dead doctor's spirit pops up right in front of Lin, looking like he's passing down his legacy. The memories show the researcher running fast, escaping a facility in a rush. Right as there's a flashback reveals the guy surrounded by intense flames and chaos during an enemy raid, pulling off an ultimate sacrifice. The scientist's body is seen falling right into the roaring fire. The scene shows the hero's silhouette absorbing the last sparks of this heroic soul inside the crematorium room. Eyes wide open, Lin Huang is deeply hit by the weight of the sacrifice and everything he just saw. The memory keeps rolling, showing the scientist smiling super hyped while holding the positive results of his research. He's spotted grinding non-stop in his lab, testing liquids in a bunch of test tubes. But the vibe gets heavy when the doctor argues with the hospital director, trying to get his project greenlit. Refusing to quit, the guy grabs his medical kit and sprints straight toward the battlefield. Out on the front lines, he hands out gear and medical supplies to the exhausted troops. With a solid, focused look, he checks on the critical condition of the wounded. Right then, a briefcase pops open, revealing 3 high-tech vials packed with glowing blue serum. The soldiers chug the potion and instantly feel a massive wave of vitality rush through their bodies. Thanks to the meds, the squad regains full strength and rushes right at a monster horde. Seeing it actually work, a scientist jots down in a notebook that the meds could probably be optimized. The camera zooms in on a torn medicine vial labeled Elf of Life. Lin Huang looks stunned, realizing that drinking it injects crazy vitality that could totally save his sister. Then a system screen pops up telling the host to pick a skill to extract from the deceased, offering Potion Mastery as the first choice. The young guy points to option 1, Potion Mastery. A screen congratulates our boy for getting the expert-level Potion Mastery passive skill, letting him learn the recipes for Ascending Dragon, Guardian, and Elf of Life. Sitting down, Lin says with the amulet and the potion knowledge, he's definitely going to cure his sister. After that, he shows up in front of a massive building, which is the hospital. Inside, he checks his sister in the treatment pod, and the screen hits 75% contamination. Looking worried at the monitor, the boy repeats that the contamination hit 75%. His sister coughs inside the pod. The pod releases some smoke. Stepping closer to his sister's pod, Lin Huang promises he isn't backing down. He places a necklace around her neck. Checking the pod's screen, he says he can't rush this since making the potion might take a while. The pod screen still shows 75% contamination, with the timer ticking down 10, 20, 30 seconds. Staring at his sister in the pod, Lin wonders if the stone isn't working or if the contamination went too deep. The pod slowly closes. The young guy questions whether the necklace is totally useless or if his sister is just too far gone. Deciding it doesn't even matter, he swears he'll figure out how to brew a potion to save her life. Over at Qingtang Academy, the place is completely lit up and shining. Inside a classroom, Wen Huang sits at his desk while the other students just chat. Thinking to himself, he knows testing the potion formula is the top priority, but if the side effects are too crazy, it's useless. Then he realizes the materials for Elf of Life are deep in contaminated zones and the pharmacy doesn't even have the main herb. Lin grumbles that some contaminated zones are locked down by the military, so breaking in is impossible. Shutting his notebook, his friend asks why he's been spacing out so much lately. She invites him to hit up a new cafe near school after class to just talk. Lin tells her he's got plans and can't make it. The girl tells him if he ever needs help, just say the word, and she's got him. Smiling, she says she really wants to return the favor since he literally saved her life before. Just then, a classmate mentions seeing military trucks near the dorms, wondering if something massive is about to go down. The hero figures the military doesn't just show up in residential areas for fun, wondering if something new is brewing. His friend thinks they definitely can't keep it a secret for much longer. She whispers to Lin, asking if he's got any inside intel. He just stares at her in dead silence, not confirming a thing. Then she leans in super close to his face, making things slightly awkward while trying to get an answer out of him. Caught completely off guard, the hero tenses up while the girl blushes right in his personal space. Breaking the tension, the young guy jumps up from his chair and decides to dip, leaving his friend behind. Once outside, he walks with total focus, knowing he has to track down those potion materials. The camera focuses on the glowing red crystal herb he desperately needs to save his sister. Walking along, Lin can't stop thinking about his friend randomly getting super close in class. With a sweat drop on his head, he sighs and tries to shake off the thoughts to stay locked in. Giving a sharp look, he gets totally focused on his infiltration mission. Later on, the hero reaches the edge of the contaminated zone, checking out the spotlights and military security fence. Crouching low in the bushes, he carefully tracks the patrol route of the heavily armed guards. Hiding in the shadows, the kid analyzes the whole setup with a serious look, calculating the perfect time to move. Wasting zero time, he flares his blue energy, hyping his body up for some high-speed action. Using his technique, he dashes at insane speed, leaving nothing but a blue trail behind. With a flawless jump, he clears the security fence completely silently. Nailing the infiltration, the young guy lands smoothly on the other side of the military fence. One of the active guards stops and looks back confused, feeling like something just zipped past him, sweeping the area while staring at the spotlights. The soldier doesn't spot anything sketchy. He tells his partner was probably just his imagination, and the two go back to their patrol like nothing happened. Meanwhile, Lin Huang's boot lands solid on the rocky ground of the restricted zone. The hero touches down in a crouch, totally alert and ready for whatever's in the contaminated zone. The shop reveals absolute destruction, with the kid walking through a wrecked city buried in snow and fog. Staying cautious, he leans against the busted wall to scan the whole area. The monstrous beast is curled up sleeping on the buildings, and right underneath it is the exact red crystal herb he's looking for. He stares at it closely, trying to figure out how to grab the red crystal herb. Lin steps up to snatch the herb, which is sitting way too close to the snake. Super carefully, Lin reaches out for the glowing plant without waking the beast up. But with his terrible luck, the snake's massive eye snaps open, glowing a deadly red. The giant serpent raises its head, blocking eyes with the intruder right as he goes for the loot. Lin's eyes go wide, sweating cold as he realizes he just got caught red-handed. No hesitation, he triggers his military technique and does an explosive backflip to dodge the danger. And that's where it gets crazy. The furious beast roars and charges him head-on, forcing the hero into a life-or-death fight for the cure.